Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. Let's hop on the Porsche. If you saw the previous video, I got a lot of excellent support. I love my subscriber base. I love my viewers. You guys are so much fun. You gave me a ton of different things to look at here. In the last video that featured this, I took you down the road. I let you hear the noise it's coming from underneath there. So I got tire noise, I got bearing, I got transmission, and I also got transfer case. So the tires are all worn, but worn evenly. Bearings, checking that, no play, no leaking from the bearings, no seeping, no real grinding noise that would be consistent with the bearing. Also just let me show you another quick little tip if you want to check for a bearing besides all the manual tests and the sight and sound tests that you can give it. Let me show you something real quick. So another way that I like to confirm a bearing issue besides all the other simple logical tests is by bringing in this Ames infrared thermal meter or camera. And I'll go around. Now, I haven't driven this car. I let it cool down so I can work on the damn thing. If this had a bearing issue, all four should come back with red in the middle of the wheel that is consistent. And if I walk around and say I find one wheel where it's hotter in the center than most, I mean, that could confirm, along with some other tests, I wouldn't just rely on that, that you do have an issue. It's metal grinding on metal, a lot more wear and tear on that corner. So just a quick tip. So the next logical and easiest thing that we can test is the transfer case. And it's also another place I want to go to next because it's a trouble area for the Porsche Macan and Porsche Cayenne, the transfer cases. They have it's almost like an SVT transmission for a transfer case, and that's why it fails, because they suck too. But it's small, it's light, it's easy to replace, it's expensive to replace. If you do it yourself, you still have to get it programmed because each of the transfer cases are programmed to the VIN of the vehicle they're on. So if you replace them with a newer used, you would have to have somebody come by and reprogram it, or have it done at a dealership and have them program it while it's there. But there's things you could do before it gets that far. By the way, the price of that would be, at a dealership, you're looking at about $4 grand average on a transfer case swap and reprogram, and 2 to 3 at one of your, more local, non-dealership garages. Depending on if you find one new or used as well, it's so many variables. And then if you swap it yourself, then it's just a pain in the ass to find somebody to program it, and then whatever price that would be. So we'll see. Things you could test first. There's just a drain. The only thing you can do is there's a drain plug, there's a fill plug. And it should be a tea-colored fluid in this particular transfer case, like a light tea color. And we're going to drain it, we're going to fill it. And we may do that a few times. I may fill it, drive it for a week, and do that a couple times, because there have been some owners that have done that, and it has gone away for quite some time. Still an issue that will have to be addressed in the future, but could put it off for thousands and thousands of miles. So let's take a look. Let me show you what I have laid out on the table here, and then we'll get started. Should be a quick process. Yeah, by the way, the parts are coming in for the Hummer project, the rear crossover, so you can kind of see what broke off there. And it does come with a new sensor that senses when there's coolant in there or what temperature it is, so that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. Did get some of the gaskets, looking for the rest of the gaskets, and then this front crossover to come in, and we can put it together. So this is the transfer case, the lower drain plug, and then the upper drain plug, and you can only fit like a liter or so, or about a quart So we're going to drain that out, and then I'll pump some back in there. We'll drive it for a little bit, and then we'll drain it again. It took one of the owners who made a video about it 3 times of draining the fluid, checking it, keeping track of what it looked like, and then filling 3 or 4 times, and then the sound actually went away. I have everything laid out of what we need. So this is a 5/16 Allen key, and then we have just clean out a drain bucket, have a pump so you can pump this in. This stuff here, guys, $88 a bottle. It's magical. $88 a bottle for clear fluid that's like water. That's magic. Also have my Snap-on light tool and some brake cleaner to clean things up after we've put the plugs back in. You do not want to over tighten the plugs, the upper fill and lower drain plug on these. It is a light, small aluminum case, 13 foot-pounds of torque to tighten it. Anything over that, you're gonna crack the case and you are effed. Let's get to it. Another quick tip. The drain plug, a lot of people always like to pull first. Me, I like to make sure there's no problems here and we can open the drain plug. That way, if you open this down here first by accident and it drains out and it can't get that open, well, how the hell are you going to fill it? Not only that, but I find opening this top one first kind of ventilates things, lets the air get in there, and it drains a lot better. And as you can see, you fill until it kind of runs over a little bit, and that's almost like a quart or a liter or whatever. Whatever you guys across the pond measure your stuff with, your fluids. Let me get a rag. Let's loosen this bottom one. Then we'll inspect these plugs too, clean them. They're not rusted like the last 2 Cayenne. I had one Macan and one Cayenne, and those plugs were pretty rusty. So this is pretty dark. We'll pull out the pan then and inspect the fluid once it's all drained out. So the first thing I like to inspect is the plugs. If this was a reoccurring problem, somebody would have already tried this. These plugs match the wear and tear and rust spots that are on the casing. So this looks to me to be plugs that have been on there for some time. Maybe the originals. Hard to tell. This stuff, well, that's definitely darker than it should be. This is like a tea color. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some in here, pour the new stuff in there, and we can tell the difference a little bit easier. There's the new stuff. There's the old, worn out fluid. Huge difference. Could be the issue. We will find out. So what I'm going to do is, it's not easy to doing this, just one person doing this, but using that pump to get that into the transfer case. Let's get it done. Okay. Get the drain plug back in there. 13 foot-pounds. I'm going to go get the torque wrench, get that down to spec. Clean things up a bit. That way, when we're all done, we can make sure there's no leaks once we've had her out for a little bit of a run. And we'll just pump it in until it starts to run out. And we know she's full. And that should take up pretty much this whole thing. All right, still not dripping out, so we are going to get the other one, crack it open, and it'll take a little bit of this one here as well. $80 a bottle. All right, starting to run out. So what we're going to do, get that out of there, it's full. Get that out of the hose. Pump it right back into the bottle again, because at $80 a quart, we're not going to waste a drop. I'm going to need another bottle too then, because we're going to drain this in about a week or two. Almost like we're doing a flush job, if that makes sense. Like precious gold. Okay. We're making a hell of a mess. Let's get this back in. All right, get the torque wrench. clean things up. And we'll get her out for a test drive. And now it's time to take it for a test drive. Am I expecting this to be an end-all, do-all? No, absolutely not. Eventually, I would like to hear the noise quiet down a little bit, so then we know we're going in the right direction. And I'm not even expecting it to quiet down right away, being that this is like a CVT transmission. There are bands that have to expand and chains and all kinds of moving parts in there. So it's going to take some time for that fluid to work its way in, and may take some time for it to quiet down. But I want to get the process started with its first ride, and we're going to run it for a week, maybe 2, depending on how much I drive it. And then we'll drain it again, and then maybe even one more time to see if there's any improvement. Again, a whole hell of a lot cheaper than $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 just to swap out the transfer case on a whim. Let's take it for a ride. Okay, I took it down and fueled up, which just a couple hundred feet down the road from the shop. So let's get it out in the roadway, put it under some load, and for those that watched the first video, you heard what the sound was. I'm going to shut up as soon as we pull out, and you'll be able to see the gauges and listen and let me know, did it get quieter or is it the same? Here we go. All right, here we go, pulling out under load. Okay guys, so I just started getting this stuff worked into the system. Like I said, a whole bunch of crazy parts that are in that transfer case. To me, I can tell you, it cut that noise down, not quite as much sharp grinding sounds. It took it down to about 65, 70% of what it was. And I have to drive it for a week or 2 to work that in. And I will, well, of course, because we're going to keep working on both of these vehicles and whatever else I bring in. I'm going to let you know how, if it improves or not, and if we're going to do it again. Because the guy said his went away after changing it 3 or 4 times. Now maybe that guy was a stock owner in this oil and wanted everybody watching the video to buy more liters or quarts of the $88 oil bottle. That could be as well, but we will find out, and we will together figure this out. If we have to, we'll just swap out transfer case and get it programmed. Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. I'll catch you in the next video.